ambushed me with this question, I was not prepared to formally address that subject matter. And the reason is very simple. We are government. We are a responsible government. We are responsible to our citizens. We are a law-abiding administration. I'm sure that everyone would testify to the fact that since I assumed office in 2019, I have ensured equity, fairness, and upheld the rule of law. I have not in any way, form, or manner attempted to be vindictive or in any form or manner appear like someone who is trying to witch hunt anybody. Now, having said that, because these are some of the insinuations that I have read on social media, and nothing could be further than that from the truth. You would all have seen the position of the Ministry of Fiscal Planning, which is the ministry that is entrusted with ensuring that people adhere to our different building codes. Because if we don't respect building codes, if we don't abide by building laws, it means that we would be nothing but a chaotic society. These are people who are charged with ensuring that our cities and towns are well laid out, well planned, and the buildings that we are constructing are safe for people to live in. We are all witnesses to what has happened in the state and in Lagos State, where buildings have collapsed and where proactively our governments and across the country have brought some buildings down for violations of different building regulations. Only a week ago, the new Honorable Minister for FCT said any persons who builds in FCT without approval, no matter how highly placed they are, be you a minister or anybody, that building will come down. I recall sometime last year when a building collapsed on Gerard in Lagos, building that belonged to someone that I actually know personally. I held a press conference and I said, we will not allow for this to happen in your state. If you build without approval, if you build beyond your approval, if you don't build in line with our regulations, that building will come down. Now, let's go to this DATCAM. First, I can assure you that our physical planning team do not have the responsibility of unmasking who the owner of a company is. It is beyond their calling or their mandate. As far as they know, a company called DATCAM had applied for approval to erect a 5-story building. That approval was filed in 2009, way beyond our administration. But sometime in 2022, a contravention notice was sent to the owners of DATCAM, regardless of who they are. Nobody cares. You don't have to. In Ogun State and in Nigeria, we don't have a set of laws for the common man and for the VIP. That's not the way it works. There's one law for everybody. Nobody's above the law. And the law is not a respecter of VVIPs or VIPs. So they sent a contravention notice to DATCAM, regardless of who the owner of DATCAM was, which was not their priority. After they sent that contravention notice in May 2022, they sent a stop order notice to DATCAM saying, you are in contravention. Stop working on this project until you come and correct these contraventions. They followed that stop order with another stop order. Again, they sent 3 stop orders. They sent a violation order They sealed the premises. The owners of that camp, in their minds, must have felt that they were above the law because they were totally recalcitrant. It's marks of impunity if the Ministry of Fiscal Planning sends you a contravention order, sends you a stop order, sends you a seal order, and you continue with the construction in violation of the safety of all of us in Ogun State. They send you a demolition order. You still did not respond. You begin to sneak into the building at night. You begin to walk there. You begin to attempt to grease palms so that they can overlook your contravention. But of course, the day of reckoning will always come. I want to salute the courage of the men and women of the Ministry of Fiscal Planning. After they had followed all this process, I understand that the owners of that camp now instructed their lawyers to go to court. Instructing your lawyers to go to court and filing an action does not interpret to a stop order on government. Anybody can file an action at any point in time. The action may even be an action that has no merit. That will be up to the court to decide. When and if the court decides that, then you cannot say you are enforcing such action. So you file an action to stop government from carrying out its primary responsibilities. Of course, the law took its course. They went there after several attempts to stop this impunity. Without really, I couldn't care less. The truth is that properties are demolished every day by the ministry. And there's no song and dance about those demolitions. Just because this property purportedly belongs to someone who now say belongs to his wife. Now they begin to misrepresent that, our government is doing this, government is doing that. Let me take you down a walk down memory lane. The purported owners of this property, when I assumed of it in 2019, had a property in Abeokuta. It was meant to be a hotel. My predecessor had sealed that property for 8 years. He had issued a stop order. He was going to demolish that building. But for my intervention, I pleaded with him. I said, you know what, let's try and find how to correct the violations. But that building remained under lock and keys until I assumed office. The very day I became governor, I was sworn in at the stadium. Was the very day the owner of the property moved into that property. For the first time in 8 years, moved in there and began to reconstruct that property. Today the property is called the Conference Hotel in Abeokuta. How do you now begin to accuse the same me that facilitated the completion of that project despite different court actions that were pending there, despite different charges by EFCC that was pending and hanging at that time? I actually commissioned that project alongside with the vice president of the Federal Republic at that time, Professor Emi Oshibajo. You are now going to media, try to use media, try to attract some form of sympathy, unnecessary sympathy. You are trying to play the underdog that Dapo Abiodun, have now vindictively demolished a property that first I didn't know it was yours. Your name is not on that property. You never came forward to say that this property is yours. You never attempted to correct the violations in any way, form, or manner. You would expect that someone who is a serving senator of the Federal Republic, a former governor of this state, would show a level of more responsibility. I've told Fiscal Planning, if I, Dapo Abiodun, if I have a building that violates building code, bring it down. Bring it down, don't revert to me. And by this, sending a strong warning to all of us across the breadth of the state. There are many of you who have buildings that don't have approvals. There are many of you who don't even have C of O's. You have built without approvals. The long arms of the law will soon be catching up with you. We will not tolerate lawlessness in this state. We are the investors' destination of choice. We are number two, number three in terms of being the, you know, industrial capital, economic capital of this country. Lagos is the financial capital. We, the Ogun State, were industrial capital. We will not be defined by lawlessness and haphazardness, where you just build anyhow, anyway, you do this, you flaunt yourself around and you place yourself around. It's not going to happen. So, for the avoidance of doubt, since you ambushed me, I have tried to explain my side of the story. I will not repeat this again. Again, I'm calling on everybody, you better come and regularize your documentation. I'm sure the Ministry of Fiscal Planning will be coming up with an announcement very soon, so that everyone who does not have an approval, who does not have a C of O, comes forward to come and regularize their documents. Otherwise, that building is going down. Thank you very much.